There's an argument to be made, according to the medical examiner, he was drug overdosing in real time. That it wasn't because of the police officer, Derek Chauvin, that put his knee on the neck. And again, they were taught to do that. According to the Hennepin County Police Department, they teach that as an approved restraint technique. And by the way, this is just a broader point. Our whole country blew up because of this incident, and it was largely based on a lie. Largely based on a lie. We were all.
What was the lie?
The lie is that there was a white police officer that went after a black person just because he was black, and it just wasn't true. He was resisting arrest.
Okay, but he killed him. Like, that doesn't.
Well, again, the county medical examiner disagrees. The county medical examiner in the original report.
So then why was he? Why did he get sentenced?
Exactly.
Like,
that's a good
no,
question.
I'm saying.
It's because it was largely a show trial where actually they were not allowed to submit
what
evidence.
Trial?
A show trial. A show trial is an example where you put people on display or a show for a political purpose or political means. And this is an example of that, where Derek Chauvin was not given a fair hearing in this trial. He was not even allowed to use the police training handbook in his trial to show that he was taught to use that restraining technique.
Okay, so what do you want to happen to Derek Chauvin? Like,
pardon.
So he's just free? What is that?
Yes.
What message does that send to, like...
It should be. It's a message that you should get an actual fair trial.
Gosh, to fact check Charlie Kirk, you know it well, but he was spot on and has been for years.
Well, and not only that, but so let's go in because there's a new petition that's out in the case. Derek Chauvin's lawyers put this out specifically regarding the use of the knee restraint and whether or not it was approved by the Minneapolis Police Department. So that's what Charlie said when he was on campus. Let's see what these officers are now saying in the new petition.
Yeah, so these latest developments, they came last week Thursday and then public on Friday. This new court filing in support of post-conviction relief for Chauvin. Chauvin's new attorney, Greg Joseph is his name. He filed this 71-page petition in Hennepin County Court alleging now prosecutorial misconduct. He stated that this case never made sense and that few murders take place before a crowd of witnesses, especially while officers are working with dispatchers and requesting an ambulance and emergency response. Joseph spends quite a bit of time in this filing questioning the video evidence, how these so-called expert witnesses could testify to the cause of death of George Floyd just by watching a video and the, quote, devastating effect that this false testimony can have in court. So new developments, you're right, focus on the training for the maximal restraint technique. Now you have more than 50 former and current Minneapolis police officers who provided sworn declarations stating that the technique used by Chauvin and the other officers, all a part of MPD training. It's all a part of this new filing asking a Hennepin County judge to either vacate Chauvin's conviction or grant a new trial. But having done research for more than a year now, this is Chauvin's new attorney. He's saying the prosecution can only run from the truth for so long. Some strong words from Greg Joseph representing Derek Chauvin. But this new filing seemed to go quite viral, and it appears that people are willing to, step up and speak out about this now. I don't know if the courage was there more than 5 years ago. I know it's a case you've been following closely as well, Jack.
Well, that's right. And I would like to thank Elon Musk for tweeting out a video of this program that we recorded almost 3 years ago. And now it was January 2023. And so 2026 is right around the corner. That'll be 3 years since we recorded this. And we were looking at many of these same issues. Was the knee restraint approved? Yes or no? Because that plays into these very questions of culpability. It plays into the questions of whether or not this did in fact rise to the level of a criminal act, which is what, of course, he was convicted of. And now you've got, Liz, walk me through some of the things that these officers have signed off on, because 50 officers stating that this was an approved technique. I mean, that's no small number.
Yeah, and these are all Minneapolis police officers, so they know the training better than anyone, whether current or former recently retired officers went ahead and submitted these declarations to the court. You'll remember we were sued over my book, They're Lying, The Media, the Left, and the Death of George Floyd, and also the Fall of Minneapolis. We were sued by the now assistant police chief of Minneapolis, Assistant Chief Katie Blackwell, but she says that we defamed her by using her public testimony in Derek Chauvin's state trial. That lawsuit was dismissed. Not only was the lawsuit dismissed, the judge sided with us, basically, essentially saying everything is substantially true. That was in the book and the documentary. And Katie Blackwell herself had to affirm the findings of the judge in this case and pay our legal fees. So you have Greg Joseph, the attorney representing Derek Chauvin. He went ahead and used the declarations we received for our case and put them in this recent filing. And then on top of that, found another 23 officers who went ahead and filled out the paperwork, these declarations, submitting now to this latest step in his case. I also want to talk about the testimony of Dr. Martin Tobin. It's a part of this case as well. He was a witness for the prosecution in the case. His testimony is at odds, Joseph says in this filing, with the methods used by the medical examiner, Dr. Andrew Baker. You heard Charlie Kirk talk about that. But Dr. Baker is the only doctor who conducted an actual autopsy of George Floyd. I don't think people still know that to this day. So the prosecution called other expert witnesses first, but then called Dr. Baker to testify, I believe, fifth in line after them. And as explained in the petition, the state knew all of this, and the only logical reason to bring in additional experts to contradict these findings is because prosecutors knew that Baker's findings alone would not get them beyond the reasonable doubt they needed to convict Chauvin. That is in the filing itself. And Dr. Baker, the Hennepin County medical examiner, who expressed his doubts very early on, saying that his findings are not matching up with the narrative based on the viral video. His words: "This is the kind of case that ends careers." He said that very early on. And he also told prosecutors just days after he conducted the autopsy, you'll see his words, it's all in the book and in the documentary as well, "If George Floyd would have been found anywhere else, this would be called a drug overdose." Again, this is from the man, the only person who has actually done an autopsy on George Floyd. And Joseph explained in the petition how the prosecution relied on video still frames to tell this single story. And again, MRT, the maximal restraint technique, that part of training was not allowed in Derek Chauvin's state trial.
And I mean, you look at all of these things, you put them all together, and clearly this seems now when we're talking about the petition, we only have a minute left though. Is Derek looking for, you mentioned pretrial release though, is he also looking for a new trial?
So they are asking the judge for
release?
one or the other to vacate the conviction
Yes.
altogether or to grant a new trial. So the prosecution will now have 45 days to respond to this filing. But this is kind of the last hope, if you will, that Derek Chauvin has. So we'll continue to follow it closely. But he's exhausted his other appeals in his state case at this point.